So an update now on this thing. The seal that's gone in it is the black rubber one that I was wanting to use. This one is the one that came out, and that was so loose inside there it would spin round on its own. Use my other hand, there we go. It would spin round on its own inside the hole because the outer casing of this has worn the actual recess where it sits bigger, because obviously the cast is a softer metal to what this is. In fact, you can't see much on that where it's sort of rubbed, so it's took all the metal out of the casing. So anyway, that's going to go in the fucking bin. I've got a leather one. I'm sure I said it was cork earlier, but it's actually leather. But I know you have to soak these forever, and the British Army used to use these regular. That much I do remember. Why they use that, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's an original fitment, a leather seal, before all the modern up-to-date rubber stuff. So anyway, we've got rubber. So the rubber one, I put it in, and you could literally sort of just get your thumbs on it and just sort of push it in. So it was far too loose, and it needed gluing in basically. So behind the seal, on the edge that it all sits on, I put some hematite, red hematite, as advised, yeah. And that went in, pushed it in. I give it a final tapping in with this tool, you know, the hub spanner, just to make sure everything was nice and square in there, and that it had actually gone in far enough to seat on the lip inside. So that means then it's pushed its way through all the red hematite sitting on the seal. So behind this there's red hematite, still see residue of it here where I've got it everywhere. And then it was feeling firm, but I've put some araldite all the way around the edge. That's still feeling a bit tacky, but to fill in the gap, and I've pushed it right into the groove all the way round, because this is all quite rough for the casing itself, so it should get some good purchase on it. And also it's proper rough, you know what I mean, but to sit in there. But I've put plenty on, but nothing protruding out, because when that mud shield goes on, it almost sits on this. Now my next job, I'm going to put that mud shield in the vise and shave a little bit off it. I don't want to take anything off of this, because that will just narrow that edge down into here, and I don't want to remove the mud shield, and I can't remove the edge. I'll show on video, because I can't remove the edge on the mud shield itself so that it seats further up, because it's on a curved edge. It's actually curved and then pushed on. So if I take it down on the curved edge, it's not going to sit any further. It's just going to thin it out so much it'll probably fall apart. But anyhow, all of this was sitting in as it should. I'm going to leave this now 24 hours before I actually put the flange back in, which is now going to give me time to get the mud shield in the lathe and clean that up, thin it out a bit, round it off as well, because it don't look very round. But anyway, that's as far as I've got now. This, I'm going to leave this 24 hours so it goes off. So tomorrow midday I shall put the flange in. This will have 24 hours to go off, although it is 5-minute epoxy araldite. I'm confident it's going to hold that in there. And also I trial fitted this with a rubber flange, the rubber seal inside the flange, and there's no way that's going to touch and pick up on it, because it stops, you know, at this bit, and that, although it's tight inside, it doesn't rub on anything. So that's as far as I am. So I should be getting the lathe ready now to sort stuff out on there. Right, so while the Araldite is going off, I've decided to have a closer look at this. I'm going to try and pick this up on the camera, but you see that line going round here? That line there was the line where the seal, here we go, got it a bit better now, that ring is where the seal was sitting on this dust washer or dust thrower, mud chucker, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, the new seal that's in there now, there's not a chance it's going to sit on there, but the good news is that around this edge here, which is where the casing is on the diff, there's very little scoring except for this side here. So it's been rubbing a little bit. Try and get that in focus for you. There, it has rubbed on there. Anyway, I've smoothed it all off with a bit of sandpaper and stuff on the diff itself, on the casing. But what I want to do is put this in the lathe and see if I can just shave just a little bit off of that, so that it's not so close to the casing itself, because around the edge here you can see where it's really rubbed. So I've had the grinder on that, on the chamfered edge, to take a little bit off the casing. Only a shave, but I want to have a shave of this as well here. Now that lip in there, inside it's actually folded, so it's rolled, so it comes along here, down and up again. So I can't push it on any further because that's a rolled edge. It won't go. What I could do is take the mud chucker off and put the flange itself in the lathe, and then take a millimetre off of the flange itself. But first of all, I want to see if I can tidy this up, because it's not even round. I'd like it to be round, you know. So I'm going to have a look at that first. Then I might even just mop that off altogether and put the whole new bit in the vise, in the chuck, and take an edge off where on the seating bit where this mud chucker sits, just in here. If I take a millimetre off of there, that means this will sit a millimetre further out, half a mil even. That's all it wants, and then it will go on a bit further. That's the plan. We'll have a look. So you might have a job to hear me, but that runs pretty true itself. It's just that it's not round. But anyway, I'm going to bring that in. That's right. There we go. We're just cutting it now. Got to lock that. Just lock it up. And literally just take a shaving off it. bore you with all of this. I'll get back to you. Hang on. So now, that's cleaned up quite nicely. I've took about 5 thou off it, maybe 6, just to shave it basically. It's all cleaned up nicely all around, and it's actually round and not sort of odd shape, egg shape or anything. So that's ready to go on, but as I've said, I'm not going to put it on until that arrow dye has had a good 24 hours to harden right off. So I don't want to disturb it, you know, even though it's only sitting inside the rubber, I don't want to be disturbing it. So this is spinning nicely now. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that.